There are two air filters in your Mazda. Most owners know about one of them. Almost nobody checks the other one. And that second filter, the one hiding in a location most owners never look, is slowly choking your engine right now, starving it of clean air, causing it to work harder than it should, costing you fuel economy you don't even realize you're losing, and in some cases, allowing contaminated air to reach critical engine components that were designed to never see dirt. I've been working on Mazdas for years, and I'd estimate that 8 out of 10 Mazdas I work on have this hidden filter in a condition that would shock the owner. Not slightly dirty, completely blocked, caked with dirt, debris, and in some cases small leaves and insects. The kind of condition that makes you wonder how the car was running at all. And when I show the owner, the reaction is always the same. What is that? I didn't even know that was there. Today, I'm revealing the hidden Mazda air filter that almost nobody checks, where to find it, what it does, what happens when it's neglected, and exactly how to inspect and replace it yourself. This is a 5-minute job that could immediately restore fuel economy, engine performance, and protect your engine from damage that's been building silently. Let's get into it. The two air filters in your Mazda. Let me start by explaining what's actually filtering the air in your Mazda, because most owners only know half the story. Filter number 1, the engine air filter. This is the one everyone knows about. It sits in the air box, which is that black plastic box connected to the intake tube near the engine. Its job is to filter the air going into your engine's combustion chambers. Clean air mixes with fuel to create combustion. Dirty air brings abrasive particles into the cylinders that scratch cylinder walls, wear piston rings, and contaminate oil. Most owners are somewhat aware of this filter. It gets replaced every 15,000 to 20,000 miles or so. It's visible, accessible, and most shops check it during oil changes. Filter number 2, the cabin air filter. This is the one most owners know about, but many still neglect. It filters the air coming into the passenger compartment through your HVAC system, keeps pollen, dust, and pollutants out of the cabin. Located behind the glove box in most Mazda models, most owners replace it annually or know they should. But here's what you might not know. When this filter gets severely clogged, it doesn't just affect air quality in the cabin. It forces your AC compressor and blower motor to work dramatically harder, accelerating wear on expensive components. But neither of these is the hidden filter I'm talking about today. The filter almost nobody knows about. Here's the one that shocks people. Your Mazda's engine has a second air filtration point that almost nobody checks. It's the crankcase breather filter, also called the PCV filter or oil separator filter. And it's critically important. Let me explain what it does and why it matters so much. Your engine produces blow-by gases. As the pistons compress the air-fuel mixture and combustion occurs, some gases escape past the piston rings into the crankcase, the bottom section of the engine that houses the crankshaft and contains the oil. These blow-by gases contain unburned fuel vapors, combustion byproducts, and oil mist. If these gases just accumulated in the crankcase, they'd build up pressure that eventually blows out gaskets and seals. So your engine has a PCV, positive crankcase ventilation, system that routes these gases out of the crankcase and back into the intake system to be burned during combustion. This is normal. Every modern engine does this. But here's the problem. Those gases carry oil mist with them. As they travel through the crankcase ventilation system, they pass through a separator or filter that's supposed to catch the oil droplets and return them to the crankcase while allowing the cleaner vapors to continue to the intake. That filter or separator is what I'm talking about. And it gets clogged, slowly, silently, invisibly, until it's so restricted that the entire crankcase ventilation system stops functioning properly. And then the real problems start. What happens when this filter is clogged? Here's why a clogged crankcase breather filter is such a serious problem. Crankcase pressure builds up, With the exit route blocked, blow-by gases have nowhere to go. Crankcase pressure rises above normal. That pressure pushes against every seal and gasket in the engine: the valve cover gasket, the rear main seal, the front crankshaft seal, the oil pan gasket. These seals were designed to hold against normal crankcase pressure. They weren't designed to hold against excessive pressure from a blocked ventilation system. Result: oil leaks. Multiple simultaneous oil leaks from seemingly unrelated locations. Owners spend hundreds replacing individual seals, only to have new leaks appear elsewhere. Because the root cause, the clogged filter causing excessive crankcase pressure, is never addressed, oil consumption increases. Some of that pressurized oil mist forces past rings and into the combustion chamber. Your engine starts burning oil. You start adding a quart between oil changes. It seems like the engine is simply using oil as it ages, but often a clogged crankcase breather is pushing oil where it shouldn't be. Carbon buildup accelerates. When the separator is clogged, the filtered oil content of the vapors entering the intake increases. More oil vapor means more carbon deposits on intake valves. In Mazda's direct injection, Skyactiv engines, which already have carbon buildup challenges, this accelerates an already existing problem dramatically. Fuel economy drops. The engine's computer constantly monitors the composition of gases entering the intake. When oil vapor content rises due to a failing separator, the fuel mixture is affected. The engine compensates by adjusting fuel delivery, often running richer than necessary. Fuel economy drops quietly over weeks and months. Most owners attribute it to the car getting older rather than a fixable maintenance item. In severe cases, engine damage. If crankcase pressure gets high enough for long enough, the rear main seal fails completely. Significant oil loss follows. If you don't notice quickly enough, the engine runs low on oil. And a Mazda Skyactiv running low on oil at 13:1 compression, that's catastrophic engine failure territory, all from a neglected filter that costs $15 to $40 to replace. Where to find this filter? In your Mazda. Here's where it gets model specific, because the location varies across Mazda's lineup. 2014 to 2023, Mazda. 3 in 2016 to 2023. Mazda 6 with 2.0 liter or 2.5 liter. Skyactiv G. The oil separator is built into the valve cover on these models. There's a small filter element inside a housing on the valve cover, typically on the side facing the firewall. It's covered by a small cap or housing that unscrews or unclips. 2016 to 2023. CX5 and CX9 with 2.5 liter Skyactiv G. Similar setup to the Mazda 3 and 6. Look for a small housing on the rear side of the valve cover. On the CX9's turbocharged 2.5T engine, there's an additional oil separator in the turbo crankcase ventilation circuit that also requires periodic inspection. 2019 to 2024 CX30 with 2.0 liter Skyactiv G. The separator is integrated into the intake system on this model. There's a small plastic housing on the crankcase ventilation hose between the valve cover and the intake. 2022 to 2024 CX50 and newer models. Mazda updated the crankcase ventilation design on newer platforms. The separator is more accessible, but still rarely serviced. Check the crankcase ventilation hose routing from the valve cover to the intake for any inline separator housings. The universal location tip: on any Mazda, look for rubber or plastic hoses connecting the top of the engine, valve cover area, back to the intake system. Trace these hoses. Any housing or junction in this circuit is likely part of the crankcase ventilation system and contains filtration elements. If you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice for my Mazda guys. How to inspect and replace this filter. Here's the exact procedure for inspecting your crankcase breather filter. Tools needed: flathead and Phillips screwdriver, a wrench or socket set, clean shop rags, a flashlight, replacement filter. We'll cover purchasing in a moment. Step 1. Cold engine only. This service should only be done on a completely cold engine. The crankcase ventilation system connects directly to hot engine oil and combustion gases. Working on a hot engine risks burns and inaccurate component assessment. Step 2. Locate the crankcase ventilation hose. With the hood open, find the hose or hoses running from the valve cover to the intake system. Follow them completely to identify any housing separators or filter elements in the circuit. Step 3. Remove and inspect the filter or separator element. On models with an accessible filter element, unscrew or unclip the housing. Remove the filter element carefully. What should it look like? A healthy filter. Slightly oily, but the filter media is still visible and open. Light tan to brown coloration. A clogged filter. Black. Saturated with oil. Completely blocked. Filter media invisible under buildup. Sometimes physically compressed or deformed. Smell it. A heavily clogged separator smells strongly of fuel and burnt oil. Step 4. Check the hoses while you're in there. With the separator housing open, inspect the connecting hoses. Look for oil pooling inside the hoses. Small amounts are normal. Large amounts of pooled oil indicate the separator has been failing for a long time. Check for cracks in the hose material. Crankcase ventilation hoses carry significant pressure cycles and degrade over time. A cracked hose creates an unmetered air leak into the intake that throws off fuel trims and causes rough running. Step 5. Clean the housing. Before installing the new filter, clean the separator housing with throttle body cleaner and a rag. Remove any accumulated oil sludge from the housing interior. A clean housing allows the new filter to function at full efficiency from day 1. Step 6. Install the new filter. Install the replacement element with the correct orientation, usually marked on the filter itself. Ensure the housing seals completely. A loose housing creates a vacuum leak. Before we continue, if you want the complete Mazda maintenance guide that covers every filter, every fluid, and every service that protects your engine for 500,000 miles, click the link in the description to download your 500,000-mile car maintenance blueprint. It covers this filter and every other maintenance item most owners miss. Let's keep going. What to buy? Replacement options. Here's what to purchase for your specific Mazda. OEM Mazda separator or filter element, available from your Mazda dealer or online Mazda parts retailers. Search your VIN number on the Mazda parts catalog to find the exact component for your model. Cost: $20 to $50 depending on model. This is my first recommendation. OEM parts are designed specifically for your engine's ventilation characteristics. Quality aftermarket options. For models where the separator is a simple filter element, high-quality aftermarket options from brands familiar with Japanese engines, like Denso or NGK-related products, are acceptable alternatives. Avoid completely unknown brands with no specifications listed. Crankcase ventilation filtration efficiency matters. Complete hose and separator kits. If your hoses are cracked or degraded, several Mazda-specific aftermarket suppliers offer complete kits including new hoses, clamps, and a new separator. These are worth considering if your Mazda has over 100,000 miles and the hoses haven't been inspected previously. Where to buy? Mazda Dealer Parts Department, Mazda Parts Now.com or similar. OEM parts websites, rockauto.com for verified OEM and quality aftermarket options. Avoid generic eBay listings with no brand name or specifications. The service interval. Here's when you should replace this filter. Every 60,000 miles as a maintenance item. This is the interval I recommend, regardless of visual condition. Even if the filter looks acceptable at 60,000 miles, replace it proactively. The cost is minimal, $20 to $50, compared to the potential damage from crankcase pressure issues. Immediately if you see any of these symptoms, new oil leaks appearing from multiple locations simultaneously, oil consumption increasing without other explanation, rough idle that came on gradually over months, fuel economy declining without change in driving habits. Check engine light with codes related to fuel trim or PCV system, a whistling or sucking sound from the engine bay that changes with RPM, definitely by 100,000 miles if never serviced. If you have a Mazda with over 100,000 miles and you've never addressed the crankcase ventilation system, do it now. Don't wait for symptoms. At 100,000 miles, this filter has processed hundreds of thousands of combustion events worth of blow-by gases. It needs replacement. The complete crankcase ventilation service. While you're servicing the crankcase breather filter, turn it into a complete crankcase ventilation system service. Check all PCV hoses for cracks and brittleness. Squeeze each hose. It should feel pliable and flexible. If it feels hard or cracks slightly when squeezed, replace it. Hose replacement costs $20 to $60 for the set. An unmetered air leak from a cracked hose can cause months of rough idle and poor fuel economy. Check the PCV valve itself if your model has one. Older Mazda models have a traditional PCV valve in the crankcase ventilation circuit. Remove it and shake it. You should hear a rattle, which is the internal valve moving freely. No rattle means it's stuck. A stuck PCV valve causes the same issues as a clogged filter, excessive crankcase pressure and accelerated seal wear. Replacement cost $8 to $25, a 5-minute job. Inspect the valve cover breather port. With the crankcase ventilation hose disconnected from the valve cover, use a flashlight to look into the port. Heavy sludge visible in this port indicates oil change intervals have been too long or the filter has been clogged for extended periods. If you see significant sludge, an engine flush before your next oil change is warranted. Completing this full system service, not just the filter alone, ensures the entire crankcase ventilation circuit is functioning correctly. The immediate results you'll notice. Here's what owners typically experience after servicing the system. Smoother idle within 24 hours. Restored crankcase pressure balance often immediately improves idle stability that owners had grown so accustomed to, they stopped noticing it. Fuel economy improvement within one tank. With fuel trims corrected and oil vapor contamination of the intake reduced, fuel economy often improves by 1 to 2 miles per gallon. Oil leaks that stop or slow without any seal replacement. This one surprises people most. Existing minor seepage around the valve cover or other gaskets often reduces when crankcase pressure returns to normal. Seals that were weeping under excessive pressure can reseal themselves when the pressure drops. Reduced oil consumption. If you've been adding oil between changes, you may notice consumption drop significantly after the service. And if you want to track these improvements and monitor every aspect of your Mazda's health with the complete 500,000-mile maintenance protocol, grab your 500,000-mile car maintenance blueprint from the link in the description. It covers every maintenance item, every service interval, and every procedure that protects your Mazda's engine for the long haul. The bottom line. Your Mazda has a hidden filter that almost nobody checks. The crankcase breather filter or oil separator is one of the most important and most neglected maintenance items on modern Mazda engines. Neglect it and you get excessive crankcase pressure, oil leaks, accelerated carbon buildup, increased oil consumption, poor fuel economy, and in severe cases, catastrophic engine damage. Service it every 60,000 miles for $20 to $50, and your engine breathes freely, seals stay healthy, and oil consumption stays normal. Find your crankcase ventilation hoses, trace them to the separator, inspect the filter element, replace it if it's clogged or at 60,000 miles regardless of condition. Complete the full system service. Check every hose, check the PCV valve, inspect the breather port. This one maintenance item that almost nobody knows about can immediately improve fuel economy, restore idle quality, stop mystery oil leaks, and add significant life to your engine. Check it this weekend. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to watch this next video as we're sharing insider tips to help you cut repair costs and keep your car running like new.